If anybody has questions, you can pop them in the comments. Feel free. If you ever have questions, I'll answer them on there. All right, guys, let's get started. We're going to start in Supta Baddha Konasana. No skiing in Toronto. Okay, I wondered. I haven't really heard of that as a ski spot. All right, so let's get started in Supta Baddha Konasana, which is Recline Butterfly Pose. Now here you're welcome to have your blocks or anything you'd like for extra support. I'd have your strap nearby because we're going to move into some hip openers once we get situated. We're going to start on our back in Supta Baddha Konasana. Bottoms of the feet are going to come together and the knees are going to drop open. So you're kind of in a butterfly pose like this. And then you're just going to recline yourself back here. Now, if this is too much, the further you push your feet away, the less stress it's going to have. The closer they are, you're going to notice your knees will come a little higher off the ground and you're going to have more gravitational pull on you. So choose. And again, if this is still too much, put pillows or blocks underneath your knees and it'll take a little stress off your hip opening. And there's all kinds of levels to your blocks. So feel what feels good to you and get in that position. Once you're in that position, you're laying on your back. Take your left hand, put it over your heart. Right hand's going to be on the low belly. We're reclined. Close your eyes and start to settle into your space. Again, today's practice is all going to be mostly lower body. You'll use some core, I'm sure, for some of the stretching and balancing work we're doing. So we'll use some stabilizing muscles. So as you're laying here, allow yourself to start to kind of melt into your mat, melt into the floor, get present in your body, and start to notice the natural ebb and flow of your breath. Notice how you're feeling in this moment. Are you feeling tight in your body physically? Is your mind going every which way? Are you trying to settle in? Just get present in the moment and start to settle into your space. Every time you take an inhale, take note of how the body inflates. The belly comes up, the chest comes up. Bring your concentration to your body. Every time you exhale, think of the body just melting down. Everything deflates. The rib cage presses in. The lungs get smaller. The diaphragm pushes up as you press the air out of your body. Again, inhaling through your nose. And then open the mouth, exhale gently, just nice ebb and flow of the breath. Continue doing this for 3 more rounds of breath. Notice the body, how it's feeling now. Throughout class, I'll be telling you to check in. Checking in on how your hips are feeling, how your body's feeling, where your mind is. We want to do everything with intention, which means we anchor into every move we make. We get present in the space we're in. Pay attention to the hips opening. Maybe you have a lot of pressure on your hips. We're going to get rid of all that. We're going to really open. We're going to allow tendons to lengthen and elongate. We're going to get fluid, the synovial fluid in the joints. We're going to get that moving. Get anything crunchy and old and stagnant out of the body in this next hour. Together, let's take 1 more breath and really fill up on your inhale. I want you to really expand the body. Fill all the way up. Hold it at the top. And when you're ready, open your mouth, exhale, let go, breathe, release. Good. From here, we're going to take our knees and slowly close them together. You can take your hands on the outside of your knees if you need help, or just use the strength of your hips. Pulling together, feet are flat, knees are bent. Back of the head is on the mat. Remember to press your low spine, your lumbar spine down, and then pull both knees in. Feet are flexed, and then pull both knees toward each armpit. Really feel an opening here. Maybe you're super tight. I feel really tight in my hips. So this feels good, and maybe you rock a little left to right, getting the low back a little massage. As you're pulling your knees in, flex your toes toward your face. You don't want your neck up. We don't want to strain the neck. Keep the neck down. The back of the head's flat. Tuck your chin. Really press the knees in. Good. Then grab for the bottoms of your feet. Happy baby pose. If you can't reach the bottom of your feet, ankles are always welcome, or just grab the back behind the knees and pull down. The feet are up toward the ceiling bent. Again, don't have the lumbar spine should be flat. Your tailbone should be rolling down. Press on your feet as you press your hips and knees towards your mat. You can stay here, or maybe you start to straighten just a little bit each leg, just getting movement through the knees, through the hips, flexing the feet, making space early on. And remember to always breathe when you feel tightness. Maybe you do both legs at the same time, a V pose. Maybe you slightly straighten, maybe you go all the way. Pull your tailbone towards the mat. Good, bend your knees if your legs are straight. Pull both knees in. Grab for your strap or belt. If you're super flexible, you may not need it. So this is options, of course. You can use a towel, belt, strap, whatever works. Take your left knee and bend it flat down. Put your foot down. Take your right foot toward the ceiling. So you can have a slight bend here, but you're gonna wrap the strap around the ball of the foot. You can also, if you have the flexibility, use your fingers, your peace fingers, and grab for the big toe. Those are your options. If you want even more, straighten the left leg down. Flex the left foot. Either way, this leg is bent. If you want less, if you want more, straighten. So find a comfortable space, and I want you to just start pulling your toes towards your face. Feel the back of the leg begin to open. If your leg is bent, that's completely fine, or maybe you're here. Slowly start to straighten to as far as you can. You may not straighten all the way today, that's fine. Or you may not quite yet, we'll get there. Be tender with your body. There's no need to rush into anything. We're gonna hold these poses. We've got plenty of time. We're gonna slowly open. So I've got a slight bend in my knee. Like I said, I'm very tight, so I'm not trying to rush through anything. And then we're gonna slowly just start to straighten. Good. Maybe you start with your strap and maybe you eventually get to your toe. These are all options you have. My left leg is long, but again, it could be bent. And just make sure this left hip is always staying down. We don't want to be rolling up or open. Take a breath in here. And on the exhale, we're going to do a supine twist. So let that right leg fall across the left side body. You're here. Try and keep your right shoulder down. You're up on the left hip. So we're doing a nice twist. Again, the left leg could be straight or bent. Same with the right. Maybe the right leg's down here. Maybe you're pulling it up towards your face. But try and keep yourself in a supine twist. And then you're going to start to feel the IT band open here. IT band runs from the outside of the right hip all the way down to your knee. So it's your iliotibial band. This is something that gets super tight, so you might really feel this here. The more you bend your knee, the less. The more you straighten, the more you're going to feel that. And start to kick your heel to the side wall. Flex your toes toward your face to really feel the IT band open. If you're a runner, you work out a lot, you sit a lot, no matter what you do, this IT band always can use a little opening, a little flexibility. I want you to take a deep breath here if you're feeling tightness. On the exhale, release. Maybe you straighten a little more. On your next inhale, let's come through center where we started. Come back flat on your back. Flex your toes towards you. Bring your left hand to the top of your left hip, and on the exhale, let the right foot fall out to the right. We tend to want to roll up. You want to make sure that left hip is flat, so keep your hand pressing if you need to. Left shoulder stays down. This leg is straight and falling out to the side. Flex your toes, protecting the knees and getting a deeper stretch. This leg might go all the way down, the right leg, or maybe you're up here. What you're working towards is feeling an inner thigh stretch, a groin stretch, and we're just getting the fluid in the joint space moving. Remember flexing toes, pull towards your face for a little more. Left hip rolls down. Take a deep breath here. Open your mouth, exhale. On your next inhale, come back through center. Flat on the back again where we started. Toes are flexing towards your face. Pull your toes towards you. Heels flex toward the ceiling. Maybe you're still bent in your knee, or maybe you're out here. That's completely fine. Find your layer, find your depth, find your edge. Maybe you can go a little deeper since we've been here before. We're opening up. Take a breath in and loosen a little. On the exhale, pull a little deeper. See how far you could go. And go ahead and take the strap off or release your right foot. Bend both knees in and hug. This time, keep the left knee hugged in, right foot's flat on the mat. Same thing, same options. Take your strap, go for the bottom of the foot, right below the toes on the ball. You can straighten the knee, or maybe you're out here and start to pull, or you can start by bending and slowly straighten. Right knee can be bent if you want less. If you want more, go ahead and straighten the right leg down. Pull the toes, flex the toes toward the face. Remember to breathe. Feel the back of the leg open, the hamstrings, the calves. Your Achilles is all back there by the back of the ankle. We're opening everything. The more you flex your toes, really feel that stretch. Keep your head on your mat. Keep your shoulders flat. You also could take your left peace fingers around your big toe if you can reach it, if you want a little more. Loosen up a little bit, take a big breath. Pull a little deeper as you exhale. How's this leg feel compared to the right? Are you tighter? Are you looser? Again, we're doing everything with intention. So think of the muscle fibers separating and opening and elongating. Take another breath in. This time on the exhale, pull your left foot over to the right side body. Keep that left leg straight if you can. If you need a slight bend, completely fine. Notice my left shoulder staying down. We're rolling onto the right hip. So my hip is up, the right hip is down. This right leg could be straight or bent. Left foot is flexing. Maybe it meets the mat, maybe it doesn't. Your gaze could be off to the left. And this again is where you're gonna find an IT band stretch. Outside of the left hip, all the way down to the knee. The more you flex your toes and pull your toes toward your face, the more you're gonna feel that stretch. Breathe here, take your time. Allow the body to open and make space. Take one more deep breath, maybe you loosen a little. And on the exhale, go a little deeper. See where you can go. What's your edge? On your next inhale, we come through center. Take your time, come flat onto your back. Toes are flexed towards you, just where we started. Right leg straight or bent, and exhale, let the leg fall out. Right hand's on top of the right hip to keep it from rolling open. We don't want to roll up. Keep the hip down. Pull the toes toward the face. You're making an L shape with your legs. Kick your heel to the side wall. Press your right hip down. Breathe. Take one more inhale. Maybe you pull a little deeper on your exhale. Take your time. Good. Next inhale, come through center. Toes are flexed toward the face, right where we started. I want you to see how deep you can go now. Maybe you have a knee bend and you're slowly straightening. Maybe you can reach your toe now. Whatever your level is, your layer, see if you can go just a millimeter deeper. Challenge the body, but don't injure the body. Listen. Open. One more breath in, loosen a little. Exhale, go deeper. Good. Slowly coming out of this, take your strap, just put it to the side so it's still reachable for later. Bring both knees into your chest. Rock left to right. And then begin to rock along the spine, up and down, rock and roll. Do that 2 or 3 times until you come all the way up. Roll all the way up and over to all fours. Meet me in all fours here for a neutral spine. Hands are underneath the shoulders and the wrists. Gaze is down. Hips stack over the knees. The toes can be tucked or you can have them flat on the mat. Whatever works for you here. Just make sure that our back is nice and flat. We don't want to be just sinking here and then straining the neck. Put your gaze down, elongate the neck, pull the shoulders down and back, pull the navel into spine. As you're here, I want you to take a deep breath in, drop the belly down, gaze goes up. Feel a nice little stretch through the abdominals. Exhale, arch the spine, press away from your mat. Inhale, cow pose, gaze goes up, shoulders down and back, tailbone to the sky. Exhale, pull the navel in, press away from the mat, tuck the tailbone. Do a few more of these at your own pace, inhaling when you gaze up and exhaling when you gaze down. Take your time here. Continue moving through the spine, making space. No rush. Find one more of each. And then meet me back in your neutral spine. Once you're in your neutral spine, remember to pull the navel in, back is flat. Take your right leg and kick it back. As you're kicking the right leg back, think of flexing the foot, toes toward the face, heels toward the sky, and kind of roll your big toe into the midline. We don't want to be rolling the hip open. Keep the hip rolled down. And then start to really lift the heel. Now when we do this, sometimes we tend to arch. Remember, keep the navel to the spine. Feel this in your glute. Feel a little balance here. Feel your glute begin to light up. Keep the foot flat. Kicking through the back wall, gaze is down. Protect the spine. Navel's pulling in. Go 1 inch higher for 4, 3, 2. Bring the right knee down on the 1. Moving into the other side, same thing. Kick the left foot back. Find a little balance here. Remember, navel's pulling in. We're not gazing up. We're looking down. Shoulders are down and back. Think of pulling the navel into the spine. Try and go 1 inch higher with your heel. Breathe. Concentrate with intent. Feel muscles begin to light up. Feel balance. By pulling the navel in, you keep balance. 1 inch higher for 4, 3, 2, and knee comes down on the 1. Good. Knees are gonna go wide. Feet, big toes to touch. Sit your hips back, find a child's pose, walk your hands down. Bring your forehead to your mat. The further your knees are apart, you're gonna get a bigger hip stretch, but make sure your hips are sitting back on your heels. If your knees are closer together, you're gonna get less of an inner hip stretch. So find your layer. I like to try and go a little wider just to continue to open. And then the hands are out in front. If it's too much on your neck, you can always stack your hands and put your forehead on them. This is child's pose, but we're really concentrating on opening the hips. So I really want your knees to separate here. Feel the openings, make space. Continue to breathe in this posture. Inhale through the nose. Open mouth, exhale through the mouth. Feel yourself slowly opening. Find one more breath here. Stay for your exhale. And then begin to walk yourself up. Come forward, bring your knees back together. We're gonna turn to the side. It's up to you how you wanna be on your mat. We're gonna come to the side so you can see me. Take your left knee with the weight. This is where you can have a block or a blanket underneath your knee if you have any kind of knee problems, or fold your mat up. Take your right leg out to the side. We're sitting up nice and tall. Your foot is flat, and you're gonna just start to slide out as far as you can. Now, as you do this, you can come forward for balance. And we're just kind of opening the inner thighs and see how far you can go. Think of that foot staying flat. It's almost like a side split. The left knee is still bent. Your left foot is on its side, on the arch side if you want. This is just a single arm frog pose. If this is too much, you can stay up here and just stay up and work on balance and slowly open. So find your layer and what works. Maybe you come forward and then slowly go out a little at a time. Take your time. This is a way to work on opening for a split. If you're working on trying to get into splits eventually, this is a great space to work. And when you feel tightness and tension, when we work on these big muscle groups like your quads and your hips, we tend to clench through other parts of our body. We get real tense through our face and clench our jaw. Try and release your face. Take note that you're doing that. Take note that you're clenching your eyes or pressing your tongue to the roof of your mouth. We're not trying to move tension and tightness from here up to here. We want to remove it from here all the way out. Slowly begin to come up if you're down. Work your way back up, take your time. Come to a stand, and then bring that knee under. Moving into the other side, this time right knee, or whichever one you haven't done, takes the weight. Left leg goes out. Again, your foot can be flat. If you need, you can roll your foot up. Listen to your body. Maybe you stay here for balance, or just start to come down and open. This foot can kind of roll out like a frog foot. And just feel that opening. Just make sure your feet and legs are in alignment with your hips. Making one long line. How's this side feel compared to the other side? Are you more open or more tight? And again, are you holding tension in your face? Release, breathe. These are big, big muscles, big, big joint spaces. They do a lot for us all day. So to open them, we tend to have a lot of tightness and tension. That's okay. We just need to breathe through them. Take one more deep breath in. Maybe you go a little deeper. Slowly begin to come back up. Take your time if you're down. Good. Coming back up. We're going to do both sides with the knees bent. So we're doing a full frog pose. You're welcome to have a pillow or blocks here if you'd like. I want you to take note of how my hips are in alignment. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see. So this time both knees stay bent, but we go wide, kind of like we did child's pose. And the inside of your feet come down like frog legs. So think of frog feet. This is again where you can have a blanket under your knees. Notice my knees stay in alignment with my hips. I'm not up here. My hips and knees are in one line. That's going to give you the opening. If you want more, come down. This is where you could put a pillow or something underneath of you. Flex your feet. Flexing the feet is going to protect the knees, the joint space. So if you have any knee issues, be there. Again, if you have knee issues or hip issues, putting a blanket underneath is going to help, and only go as deep as what feels good. Staying right there, I'm just going to show you from the front, making sure you're not confused on the space we're in. Knees are out, feet are flat like frog feet. Okay, stay here and breathe. We're going to be in this posture for just a couple more breaths. Really opening up. Check in. Always checking in yoga. This is a practice, so we want to continue to get better at whatever we're doing. This might be your first time ever doing yoga, and that's wonderful. So what you want to always make sure you're doing is checking in so you can continue to practice and get better and get more strength, get more flexibility. That's what it's a mental game. Good. Let's slowly start to come out of this. So if you're down, take your time. Again, big hip spaces. So what you want to do is bring your feet together first if you're wide and sit your hips back. Bring your knees in. That's going to really help you. Good. Take your time to get there. We'll meet on all fours. We're going to do these toe stretches and feet stretches, okay? So go ahead, tuck your toes under. Now, if you have plantar fasciitis or you have ankle issues, toe problems, this might be your layer right here. You may stay here, keep the toes tucked, maybe you sit your hips back. This can be where you stay. If you have a block or a pillow, I'll show you another option if you want to come up. So when you come up, you're going to feel those toes really ignite. If you've taken my class before, I almost do this in every class because we tend to forget our feet all the time. I used to be able to sit in this for about 10 seconds and it would kill me. Now I can sit for 10 minutes because we work our way through it. If this is too much, you can put a block and that actually takes a lot of pressure off. Put it as close to your knees as you can, or a pillow, whatever you have. Make sure all 10 toes are tucked under. Now you're sitting back. Again, if you need a blanket under the knees, that helps, or you can fold your mat up and over. Protect your joints. We're here to make things better, not to cause issues. By making one space better, we might cause issues in another. That's not what you want to do. That's why I say we move with intent, we stay present. And yes, your toes are probably igniting. If you need to come up for a second, you can. This is challenging, but we work through it. We breathe. If you have any kind of circulation issues with your feet or hands, doing things like this, we're cutting blood off, so there's nothing coming through. And once we come out of it, we're going to flush the blood through your toes. Everything's going to just flush anything old and stale out. We're getting to the arches of the feet, the toe joints, everything. And we'll move into the ankles here in a second. All right, let's come forward. Now this is where you're going to feel a little release. Untuck the toes gently. Woo. Feel that. Crunch your toes in. Tap the tops of your feet gently. Feel the flow of blood. That feels good. If you want to scrunch and clench and open your toes, roll out your ankles. Now tops of the feet meet the mat. Knees are together. Sit your hips back. So we're doing the opposite. You can stay here if you have ankle problems. If you want more, lean back. And then if you want even more, bring your knees up. This is where you're going to really feel it in your ankles. If you want to balance, bring your hands out in front of you. Good. Finding that balance. If you feel wobbly, pull the navel into spine. Anytime you're doing any balance work, you're all about the core. As soon as you pull that navel into spine, you're going to feel yourself go back. And you're going to say, oh, I've got this balance that I didn't know I had. Your core is everything. Good. If you're coming out, bring your hands down first. Then bring the knees. Come forward and all fours. Roll out the ankles. Good. Guess what? We're going to do it one more round. Okay? Go ahead and tuck those toes. Sit your hips back. And here we go. Hips on the heels. Again, you can be here if you want less, or you can set that block up underneath of yourself. Find your layer. Ooh, you're going to feel that heat up. Might feel a little easier this time because you've awakened the feet, you've awakened the toes. So see how you're feeling. Sit up nice and tall. Think of elongating. We always want to have a nice posture. We don't want to be slouched forward. So think of sitting tall, shoulders down and back. Always working on posture, navel to spine. Breathing. Maybe your toes are numb at this point, so you're not even feeling it. That's okay. We're cutting off blood circulation. We're doing it just the amount of time that it's going to be good when we come out. Go ahead and take a deep breath in. Forget about your feet. Concentrate on your breath. Fill up your belly. Open your mouth. Exhale. Let it go. Good. We're going to come out of this. Bring your hands down if they're up. Untuck the toes. Tap those tootsies. Tops of the feet on the mat. Crunch your feet if you want. Open and close your toes. Tops of the feet together, knees touch together, sit back. Maybe you sit here, come back. Maybe you raise up. Maybe you balance. If you want even more, press your hands here and bring your knees into your nose. Find your layer, find your balance. And slowly begin to come out. Hands down, knees down. Press yourself back forward. Hands in front of you. Good. We're back to all fours. Roll out your ankles. Good. Hope everybody's feeling good through that. Crunch your toes. We're going to tuck the toes once more. So what we're moving into is down dog. Just to make sure your down dog is proper. Shoulders are over wrists, hips over knees. Once you tuck those toes, you're going to press your hips up and back. Nothing moves, and you'll come into that perfect little peak of a down dog. So as you press up, heels down, this is your down dog. Now when you're here, we tend to want to gaze up or look over the side. Let your ears fall between your biceps. Press your chest towards your thighs. Heels might be working their way down. The back of the legs might be a little tight. That's fine. And start to pedal out one heel at a time. So one down, maybe you hold it for a breath or two. And then the other. You're opening up your calves. Think of your palms being big and wide like starfish. If you have wrist issues, really dig your fingers into your mat and kind of dome up the palm of the hand. That's going to take pressure off the wrist. Start to put more pressure between your index finger and your thumb. All these little things begin to take pressure off areas that we don't need to have it. Proper down dog, on the balls of the feet. If you have the flexibility, take both heels high together at the same time. And then start to melt both heels down as far as you can while you press your chest towards your thighs. You feeling that opening? Notice my back is flat. I'm not up here trying to press like this. We're pressing through. The head is between the biceps or further back. I want you to take one more breath here. Stay for your exhale. And then slowly walk your feet towards your hands. Your legs can be straight here, or you can bend them. Then you're in a ragdoll pose. Feet are staying hips width distance apart. Let your head hang. Nice deep bend in the knees to start. Grab opposite elbows and maybe waver left to right. Feel a little traction in the spine. Let the head hang naturally. Gravity pulls. From here, straighten your right leg, bend through the left. As much as you can. You might find that you can go far or not very far. But just take note of how you're feeling. When you straighten that right leg, you're really opening up the hamstrings. Good, bend both knees again. This time straighten the left, bending to the right. And again, you might be up here, and that's completely fine. You can have a block if you want to be up here, if you need a little help. There's no shame in ever using blocks or any kind of props. They're so good for so many reasons. I love props. Good, bend both knees. Now, if you want to go a little deeper, we're moving into Padagustasana. Palms of the hands are going to slide underneath each ball of the foot. So your toes are tickling the backs of your wrists. The balls of your feet are laying the palms of your hands. You can have a deep bend here. Or if you want more, begin to straighten. Pulling, letting your elbows bend, pulling your chest toward your thighs. Take note of how your body is feeling here. You can stay bent, no big deal. Press and lean forward just slightly. Feel a little massage in the hands. Don't go too far, you will do a somersault. There's no stopping you. Let the elbows hang. Good, slowly come out of that. Take each hand out from under your foot. Let your hands hang, let your head hang. We're gonna slowly roll up one vertebrae at a time at my count. Your head's gonna be the last thing to roll up and back. From here, let's begin to come up for 4. You can have a slight bend in the knees for 3. Arms and head are hanging for 2. Head's the last thing, shoulders roll down and back on the 1. Good. Roll the shoulders back, maybe loosen up the legs. Hopefully you're feeling open. Go ahead and option for a strap here or a towel. You may or may not need it. It's always nice to have one around your neck if needed. All right. So we're going to start with some balance on the legs. We'll start with a tree pose. This is a great one because there's a lot of layers to it and you can find your level. So left leg takes the weight. Ground your toe mounds into your mat. This knee is going to roll open and out. Take your heel to the inside of the ankle. You can kickstand here. Sit up nice and tall. Remember, always navel to spine when we balance. Tuck your tailbone. Feel strength in your body. These are full body postures. If you want more, come up to the calf. Remember, knee is going out and open, left hip's rolling back. If you want more, go up to the inner thigh. Just make sure you're not pressing on your knee joint. So either be at the lower, below your knee, or above. Now, once you're here, lift your left kneecap toward the sky. When you lift your left kneecap toward the sky, press your right foot to the inner thigh. Once you're here, you might feel a little wobbly. Pull your navel in. If you want more, bring your arms out for balance or above your head, or you can keep a prayer at heart center. If you want an ankle opener, take the top of your foot and find your left hip crease and pull it in. So there's 4 different layers you can find, depending on what serves your body, your knees, your joints. Listen to your body. If you want to work on balance a little more, go ahead and close your eyes. See where that takes you. If you want to go a little more, you can try and even balance on the ball of your foot. There's so many options. And again, your arms can be out, eyes closed. Good, you're here for 4. Pull your navel into your spine for 3, 2, coming out on the 1, bring your leg down, relax. Good, roll out the left foot, taking weight into the right foot, moving forward. You can take the same layers here. Right foot takes the weight, hips are squared off at the front of the room, the left knee rolls open. Bottom of the foot can be on the calf, not on the knee, so go above it or below it. Press your foot to the inner thigh if you want full expression. And again, take your right kneecap, lift it to the sky, that'll ignite your quad, then push your left foot in. Pressure, so you're building stability. You're using these tiny stabilizing muscles. You build strength this way with muscles you don't know you have. If you want to do the ankle opener, take that right hip crease and this top of the foot's going to go right in there and then push it down. You can hold your foot there or you can press your foot into your thigh as you lift your right kneecap. Hands to heart, hands up, over the head, behind the head, prayer hands. You can do prayer hands behind your back if you want. So many layers and levels. If you want to close the eyes, you can close your eyes. You can go on the ball of your foot. Wherever you are, navels to spine, you're concentrating. You're breathing for 4. Balancing for 3. Almost done for 2. Release on the 1. Shake everything out. Good. We're going to move forward. This is where you might find that you need a strap. Taking the left leg with the balance once again. Make sure nothing's out to the side of you in case you're going to go full expression. You're going to take your knee and bend it here. So we're at a 90-degree bend. Once you're here, make sure you keep your hips nice and aligned. So don't let this right hip go up. Keep the right hip in alignment with the left. Flex your toes. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you bring your hands to your knee. This is the next expression. If you want to go further, this is where you can use your strap if you want to. You can put your strap underneath the foot before. Or if you have the flexibility, take your peace fingers and grab for your big toe. Once you're here, hike your knee up. Maybe you stay here. Again, just listen to the layers and see where you want to go. Full expressions moving in. We're going to kick the foot forward, straighten the leg, sit up nice and tall. And then you're working your way out. Again, we can make this as advanced or beginner as you want. So follow the level, the layer that you want. Breathe. Your left arm can be out. Gaze can go to the left. Sit up tall for 4, 3, 2. We're coming back through center. Try and keep your balance. Leave the left leg out, hands off your toes, or you can bend here. For 4, building strength for 3, navel to spine for 2, and down on the 1. Good. So see, we have so many layers, things you can think of to build up to. When I teach these classes, I usually throw these in every once in a while. Same thing, right leg this time, taking the weight, have your strap if you need it. You may feel more open on this side, maybe more closed. Bend your left knee, 90 degrees. Flex the left foot. Your knees in alignment with your hip for now. You can bring your knees or your hands to your knee. Maybe this is your level and your layer and you balance here. If you're here, concentrate on that right leg strengthening and your balance. If you want more, use your strap or take your left peace fingers, wrap it on the inside of the big toe. Hike that foot up. If you want more, kick out. Hand can come out for balance, or you can have it on your hip. When you're here, sit up tall. Slowly come out and open. Once you're here, again, your arm can be out for balance. Right hips open, pulling to the back of the room. Breathe for 4. We're going to hold it for center in 3. Moving through for 2. Come back to the front. 1. Hold your leg out. Hands can be out or to the side for 4. You can bend your knee if you want. 3. 2. Come down on the 1. Good. Release out. Woo. How's that for some nice little balance on the legs? All right, you can set your strap to the side. Have it close by up there at the top of your mat. On your next inhale, arms come up overhead. You can do a little back bend if you want. You can bring your hands to your low back just to open up the front body. We are using the core a lot. And inhale, come back up through center. Bring your hands or your feet, out wide a little bit to like about the edges of your mat, 45 degrees. Moving into Malasana Squat. Option for blankets, pillows, blocks if you need them. We're going to squat down low. So go ahead, maybe you stop here. Maybe you can go all the way down. Maybe you sit. Showing you from the front. This is where you could put a block right here. Elbows to the inside of the knees. Your block has many levers. Don't forget you can go high here. Or maybe you're on your toes if you want to balance. Or you're sitting down deep. So if you're down deep, press your palms together. Elbows on the inside of the knees. And press open. Press your palms to your chest. This is your full expression here. Remember to breathe. Weights in the heels. If your heels aren't going down, if you don't have the flexibility in your ankles, that's completely fine. You might be on the balls of your feet. That's okay too. We're just working on getting some nice deep stretching to the hips. Take another breath. And exhale. Options here. We're going to come all the way back up. So you can use your hands to help yourself up or just use your legs. Take a big breath in. We're going to come all the way up to star pose. Press ourselves up. Open. And exhale. Hands to heart center. We're going to slowly come down. All the way forward fold. You can bend the knees. Ragdoll pose. You can stay right here or you can take your hands, clasp them behind your back and let them fall over the head. Release your palms down, right in front of your feet. Walk your feet back to down dog. On your inhale, right leg is going to go high. Three-legged dog. On the exhale, listen here, where right foot's going to go to the outside of the right hand. So you're in a runner's lunge. Your right knee is bent 90 degrees. You're on the ball of the back foot. You can drop the back knee down. Again, knee issues or want some support, flip the back of your mat up or put the blanket underneath your knee. You can stay here if you want. You can untuck the back toes if that feels good. You can use a block if you want to try and start to go down. You can rest here. But remember, this knee is bent. Our pelvis is pulling down. A lot of people tend to try and do this and keep their hips up. We want gravity to pull on us. We're opening up hip flexors. Hip flexors get so tight. Hip flexors are what keep a lot of people from being able to do back bends. So opening those up, when we sit all day, they tend to wind up, get real tight. Your psoas muscles go from the base of your lumbar spine, and they go all the way down to your hips. So we're stretching those out here. If you want a little more, you could always come all the way down to your forearms. You can stand your forearm or up on your hand. Take your right hand and press your right knee away. Come up on the knife edge side of your right foot. Your gaze can be up, your hips are melting down. Left leg's still long. We're just opening a little deeper. Now your strap is here if you need it. It should be up at the top of your mat. If you want to get a deeper hip flexor stretch, go ahead and kick your left knee in, or your left heel in toward your hip. You can take your strap and wrap back, or continue to turn toward the bent right knee and reach back for your foot. Pull that foot in, or use a strap around the ankle. So we're on the left palm or the left forearm. We're facing toward our right knee, and we're pulling the left heel in. A lot of components to this, so only go as far as you want. Maybe you stay where we started. You don't have to go through all the layers. You're going to get a stretch. This is if you want a little more. Take one more deep breath. Notice if you're holding tension in your face, your jaw, release it. Let your hips sink, your pelvis sink. And release that foot down. Hands come back. Right foot comes flat. Tuck your back left toes. Bring your knee up. Right foot steps back. Push back to down dog. Good. Inhale, moving to the other side. Left leg goes high, three-legged dog. Exhale, left foot steps to the outside of the of the left hand. So you're here to start. Notice my knee is by my shoulder. Go ahead and drop the back knee down. Have your blanket if you want to untuck the toes if that feels okay, or keep them tucked. You can stay here. Notice I'm not trying to stay back here. Try and come forward if you can. If you can only come that far, that's fine, but I don't want you to press yourself back. I want you to allow gravity to pull on you. So listen to your body. Again, you can come down to your forearms here. Breathe. Notice the right hip flexor opening. Notice my hips are melting down. If you want a little more, this is where you can turn open. Press that left hip away, left knee away. Turn open. Press as much as you can. Your hand is resting on the mat. Gaze can go up. Right hand or forearm is down. We're moving into even more depth. If you want, you can stay here, or you can use your strap. And this is where we're going to take that right heel, kick it up. Left hand reaches back and pulls it in. Other option is to take your strap, wrap it around the ankle. Again, you can be on your forearm or your palm here. You're spinning open toward the bent knee. That knee is falling away. Your pelvis is melting. Take note of tension. Breathe. This is one of the biggest postures that you might feel your tightest in, because we're working so many components of your hips. Getting all the muscles on the front of the body, the inside of the hip joints. Take one more deep breath. Big exhale. Release your foot if you're grabbing it. Bring your hands back. Go ahead, tuck the back toes. Step the left foot back to meet the right. Push back, down dog. Take your feet, start to walk them in. Come down to your knees. We are going to go into Hero's Pose. So this is a lot of options here. If you have knee problems, just take the first option. If you want, take a block, and we're going to take our heels and go to the outside of our hips. Your hips are going to sit, your glutes are going to be between the heels. If that's too much on the knees, go ahead and put the block underneath. That's going to take pressure off the knees and put it more on the glutes. Keep the heels, or keep the knees together. Knees should be touching, heels to the outside of the hips. If this is still too much, do one leg at a time. That's completely fine too. And I'll tell you when to switch. So if you're just doing a single leg, that's fine. Halfway, I'll tell you it's time to switch. Now, if you want to go further, again, knees together, squeezing together, heels to the outside of the hips. You can lean back here. We're working on the hip flexors. If you want more, come to your elbows. Knees squeezing together, don't let them flare out. We're going to defeat the purpose and it's not great for your knees. Come all the way back if you want to get all the way there. And fullest expression is grabbing opposite elbows over top of your head. And you can press your hips up off the mat if you want. Just make sure the knees squeeze together. Really stretch the front body, your hip flexors from your knees all the way up. You should feel it through your hips, up through the abs, stretching all the way back. I want you to continue to breathe in this posture. You're getting your quads nice and stretched. Deep breaths in. Knees, remember, squeezing together, exhaling out. Switch through if you're doing single leg, hero. Go ahead and switch your legs out. We're about halfway through here. Remember, you're squeezing your knees, your heels are the outside of your hips, whatever layer you're in. Deep breaths. Make sure you don't have any pinching in your knees. It's okay if it's tight, but you don't want to have pain. You don't want to injure. Big breaths in. Open mouth, exhale. Good. If you're laying all the way flat, we're going to start to come up. Bring your arms down. Take your elbows next to you and press your elbows in. Then bring your hands. Press yourself all the way up. Come to all fours. Tuck your toes and press your hips up. Down dog, release. This is where you're going to feel the blood flow. So what we were doing is we were again taking the blood, the circulation, and cutting it off from the knee below. So when you come into down dog, you're going to feel all that blood flush through the body, down to the toes, helping in circulation. All these little things you can do for the lower body if you have circulation issues, joint problems, fibromyalgia, all that stuff. This helps awaken the nerves, the blood flow. Good. Go ahead and bring your knees back down. Go ahead and sit on back. We're going to do one more. So we started in Padagustasana, which was a recline butterfly or a cobbler's pose. This time we're going to do the same thing, but we're not going to recline backwards. We're going to recline forwards. So bring the bottoms of your feet together. Again, if this is too much, the further your feet are from you, the less pressure you'll have, a little easier it'll be. If you want to work on more flexibility, pull the knees or the heels in towards your groin. Take your hands, grab for your feet. Sit up nice and tall. Pull your chest through your arms. Now you might stay here and pull yourself a little bit and feel that inner thigh stretch. If you want to go further, we want to work on bringing our chest toward our feet. We're not trying to bring our head toward our feet. That does nothing but strain the neck. It gives you no flexibility. Pulling the chest and the belly toward the feet is where you want to be. I'm just going to show you from the side. I want you to pay attention to your back here. We're here. We're not here. No arching. Push your chest forward. Then once you're here, see how far you can go. Once your feet are, or once your chest is getting down to your feet, that's when you can relax the head. Remember your breathing. Your Your hips are nice and open by this point. We've done a lot of hip openers, a lot of quads, got into the IT bands. Everything's nice and open at this point. Good. On your next inhale, pull yourself back up. Take your hands to the outside of your knees, close them like a book. Feet are flat. Tuck your chin in, hands by your sides, slowly roll yourself back. Knees are bent, head is on the floor. Bring your knees into your chest, just like we started class. Rock left to right, feel a nice low back massage. Move into a happy baby, that's how we started class. Grab for the bottom of your feet. Maybe they weren't accessible in the beginning of class, but maybe they are now. If that's too much, ankles or behind the knees. Pull down. Feet are flexed, like you're kicking to the ceiling. Rock left to right. Again, maybe you straighten a leg, maybe you straighten both legs. We are going to be moving into the most important pose of any class, your Shavasana. Release your feet, hug your knees in. This time, pull your head up to your knees, squeeze into a little ball. Big breath in. And on the exhale, release. As you release into a final Shavasana, this is the most important part of class because our body releases, our muscles relax, and you're allowing everything you worked for to set in. I'm just going to leave here for a couple minutes and I'll bring you back. As you lie in your Shavasana, let your feet fall, let your jaw unclench, let the tongue come away from the roof of your mouth. Allow everything to release and relax. Your eyes release in the sockets. Take note of your body now, how it's feeling compared to when you started. I'll bring you back in a moment. As you're slowly beginning to bring awareness back to the body, you can start to roll out the wrists and the ankles. Massage the back of the head left to right, bringing awareness to your nerve endings on the scalp. You can start to bring your arms up overhead, feet reach in one direction, hands in the opposite as you stretch the body and pull it apart from the midline. Big breaths in. Big breaths out. And bring your knees up to your chest and roll over to your left or right side for a moment in the fetal position. Position of safety and comfort. As you slowly, with your eyes closed, press yourself up to your seat. Seated position, palms together at heart center. Being grateful for yourself and showing up today and taking the time to open the body, release stressors physically, mentally, emotionally. Leaving anything else behind on your mat today that doesn't serve you a purpose. Don't take it with you. Take the good positive vibes we've built from all over the world together. Bring your thumbs up to third eye center, a space between the eyebrows. A space of open-mindedness, open-minded with ourselves, open-minded to one another. Bowing forward, namaste. Thank you guys so much for joining.